Hey guys, my name's Holly Baxter. I'm an accredited practicing dietitian and online physique coach, and today I'm going to be making a chocolate chip cheesecake. So this is actually a brand new recipe for me. I haven't actually tried this before, so you're going to be going through this with me as I'm actually making it. So I'm really hopeful that it comes out perfectly. Sometimes I don't, and the texture I don't always get right because I am modifying these so significantly. But based on my trajectory of other cheesecakes, I hope that this is just as good as the others. So the reason I wanted to make this is I am making a brand new contest prep ebook, which will be available in mid-March of 2018 in support of Lane's brand new contest prep book. So you'll be able to actually coach yourself from start to finish, and hopefully you can purchase my brand new ebook, which will have all of my recipes, all of my tips, tricks on how to actually make a contest prep diet successful without having to sacrifice all your favorite foods. So stick around for this low-calorie chocolate chip cheesecake. So I'm going to run through the ingredients with you, and yes, it makes a return yet again. So we're going to use fat-free ricotta cheese. There is a skim milk version actually as well, which you could use if you prefer a more full or creamier taste to your cheesecake. But I'm going to give this a go today with the fat-free version. We also have the third fat cream cheese. I'll be using a fair amount of this in today's recipe, again just to give it a better mouthfeel and texture. Obviously we need something like a gelatine and an egg white. So I'll be using gelatine and egg whites or egg stirs to help bind this cheesecake together. I want to buck the protein content up a little bit as well today, so I'm going to be using a little bit of Lane's Carbon chocolate protein powder, or WPI. So we'll be using some of this. We're going to be using this stevia low calorie sugar substitute, and we're also going to be putting in some of these yummy Choc chip cookies or Choc chip biscuits. Neither of those are true. So chocolate chips going in for the chocolate chip cheesecake. Vanilla essence goes really well. Again, it just gives it a nice flavor, and a tiny little bit of cocoa powder, Hershey's cocoa powder, to make this chocolate cheesecake perfect. So we're going to be baking it today for 40 minutes at 380 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius if you're in any other country that's not the USA. So set bake time 40 minutes. So I usually use a round springform cheesecake tin. Today I feel like doing something different. I'm going to do a square cheesecake. I'm actually going to make it into like a slice. You can do whatever you like, but around this kind of size or volume is going to be great, and it's going to be quite thick as well. As I said to you, this is the first time I'm making this as well, so I'm hoping for some good consistency with the ratios that I'm using of cream cheese to ricotta. So I'm going to use 700 grams of the fat-free ricotta, using 250 grams of the third fat cream cheese. Now you could use regular cheese. The macros for this cheesecake are already really good, so you could use regular and it would take it up a little bit for the fat content, but it's up to you. So 250 grams, 1.5 cups of stevia, powdered stevia, just to make sure it's nice and sweet. Now before I add the other remaining half cup, I'm actually just going to blend this in the food processor just to allow that to sink down into the processor a little bit better. Something to consider actually is with all of the artificial sweeteners and natural sweeteners is that the more you have of these, the more likely you're going to get gastrointestinal upsets. It might not look like you're having a lot if you're having it just in your cups of coffee, but think about the other processed foods that you might be consuming from day to day that contain these things. So if you're somebody that enjoys protein smoothies, or you're having protein bars, if you drink any carbonated or soft drinks that are diet products, all of these things over the day can actually cool, and that's why you end up with GI distress and abdominal pain. So have a think about that before you go self-diagnosing and potentially pointing the finger at other more common IBS trigger foods, so wheat and certain vegetables and things like that. I'm going to be using 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. I'm not going to use a teaspoon, guys. I'm so sick of people criticizing me for not using things and measuring them out. I've got it. I've been doing this a while. So I'm actually going to go ahead and boil the kettle now, and we're going to be using 2 sachets of gelatin, or 30 grams of gelatine. And again, that's going to help bind this all together. Okay. I I'm so impatient. World's worst cook. Does anyone else stand at the microwave while they're waiting for their food to cook? Because it's gonna go so much faster. Come on! So I'm just gonna pour in a small amount of water. Add this in very gradually or you're going to end up with clumpy gelatine. I'm just using it very small into the food processor. Now for the fun part, I'm going to be putting in the chocolate flavoring. So this will be pretty sweet. Again, you can add in a little bit more powdered stevia if you would like to, depending on your sweet tooth. I know if I was making this specifically for Lane, I'd probably be putting another 2 cups of stevia in here. Next, I'm going to be adding in 1 serving of protein. I'm going to use the chocolate protein, but you could very easily use any other flavor you like. If you have caramel, that would probably be the best, but vanilla is totally fine too. So we'll go ahead and put in a scoop of protein just to bump the protein content up just a little. I'm going to use about half a tablespoon of the cocoa powder. To add in the chocolate chips, I don't want you to put these into the food processor. I want these to stay whole, so that when we do slice up the cheesecake, it has a beautiful marbled effect, and it will also hopefully still have a couple of chunks of those lovely chocolate chips. So transfer all the ingredients from your food processor into a large bowl like this, and then we're just going to fold through the chocolate chips. Spoon that through. Yeah, it tastes pretty good. You're gonna line your baking tray with baking paper. Great tip, spray the pan first, then put your baking paper down, then spray it again. It'll just eliminate it moving around at all, and then having your cake slop and slide everywhere. Press it into your tin. Get all the edges. It's gonna go into the oven. We're gonna bake that for 40 minutes. You don't wanna overcook this. I made one just yesterday actually, which I put in for 50-55 minutes. It was a little bit dry, so I'm gonna pull the time back just a touch today, and hopefully we get a better consistency. You will notice that today I didn't actually put a base on this cheesecake. A couple of reasons for that. My macros right at the moment are pretty aggressive, and I only have 40 fats to deal with, and I'm on 135 grams of carbohydrate. So for me to go and put a base on there, which usually I can modify it so that it is lower in calories, it's just not worth those extra fats and carbohydrates. So this should actually keep this cheesecake very macro friendly. So I think the protein content of this one is around 13 grams of protein, 5.5 grams of fat per serve, and about 10 grams of carbohydrate per slice. Now that makes 10, okay? So they're quite large slices. You're not gonna feel ripped off or anything like that. And hopefully it's super tasty, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I've patiently waited for 40 minutes. I've had a quick look in here and it looks like it's gonna be perfect. So I'll go ahead and get it out. Whew. Don't stick your head straight in the oven. So you can see how it's starting to split on the top here. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. We know it's starting to, it's cooked perfectly. So I'm gonna leave this to sit now for about 30 minutes. If I grab the tin and give it a little shake, it kind of still looks a little soft in the center. That is perfect, because when it sets in the fridge, it's going to all come together. You don't want it to be too dry and already completely set all the way through. Otherwise you're going to have a very claggy kind of cheesecake. So that is exactly what we are looking for. This makes 10 servings, so take a look at that. It's going to give you a fairly nice portion size too, which is awesome. Great. If you enjoyed this particular recipe and you're interested in learning or getting a new array of different low-calorie, macro-friendly meal ideas, I do have another ebook that's available, which you can click the link on the screen that you see now, and you can purchase this for only $9.99. It has 52 really good, delicious low-calorie recipes, all my own recipes, so do check that out. If you aren't familiar with my nutrition coaching, please have a look at my coaching programs. This is also accessible on my website. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a really wonderful day.